Scandinavia is the home of many innovations and new technologies, but Scandinavia is falling behind when it comes to AI. And this is getting so serious that it is actually throwing the countries into a recession. A new study from BCG shows that this is a very serious situation and we need to act now. My name is Nicholas Fernholm and I am a public speaker and a senior advisor when it comes to implementing new technologies such as AI. The Nordic regions, renowned for their innovations, equality, and progress, are now falling behind. And they are facing the biggest threat that they have faced so far. Its historic leadership when it comes to technology and new innovations is being questioned. And it turns out that Scandinavia is standing still while the rest of the world is moving forward. It's a region that is celebrated for their education, innovation, and technology. But as of right now, half of the workforce is fearing that they do not have the skills necessary to meet the future which we are heading towards. It turns out that only 19% of Scandinavians use AI such as ChatGPT at least once every week. 19% use it once every week. The global average of using these types of AIs is 61%. 19 to 61. And while this is the current state of AI usage in white-collar work in Sweden, over 70% of Nordic executives say that this will radically transform the workforce. And more than 60% of them feel that they are underskilled when it comes to the AI era which we are moving towards. So it turns out that everyone in Sweden and Norway and Denmark and Finland, they know that this is coming, right? Executives, white collar, everyone knows that this is happening. But at the same time, we're not doing anything. We're not using the tools, we're not implementing them in our organizations, and we're not actually taking leaps forward. Now, there are some exceptions in the Nordics. Some of my customers that I work with, they are taking leaps and bounds forward and trying to lead the way in using these new technologies to increase their efficiency, become better at what they do, and create more value for their citizens and their customers. But unfortunately, those organizations are very few and they are far in between each other. Small organizations have lagged behind the larger actors by as much as 25%. Now, this is a sign of the EU strategy of regulating first and then after that telling people what they can and cannot do. What that leads to for smaller actors is that they do not have legal teams. They do not have money to pay advisors to find out what does the AI Act allow us to do and not to do? What does GDPR allow us to do and not to do? These are very large barriers for small actors to actually dare to take leaps forward. While the larger actors in the areas, from banking to pharma, they have regulatory experts. They know how to solve this, and they are actually moving very rapidly forward. On top of this, the culture in Scandinavia of trying something new, experimenting, is very, very cautious. They want to know the plan before they do anything. The process of getting an organization in Scandinavia to actually try out, for instance, an AI agent is extremely tedious. So the customer usually first wants a proof of concept, and then they want a minimum value product, and then they want a request for information, a request for data, they want a request for X, and after they get all of this information, they then want to do a legal evaluation of the experiment, and then they want the regulation to go through everything to make sure that we're not doing anything bad, and then we're not even talking about IT security and everyone within the C-level actually signing off on us doing this experiment. Now, this means that it can take up to 2 years for the organization to just give an okay to do an experiment. For one person to get access to one license of Copilot or ChatGPT or an AI agent and try it out. We're talking 2 years of planning to do 1 month of testing. It is insane. insane what is going on right now. Now, the study that BCG made on this topic is called Gen AI Complacency, the costly inaction in the Nordics. Now, it turns out that the inaction in Scandinavia is costing us dearly. The loss of efficiency in white-collar workers today is up to 3.5 hours of work lost every single week for each white-collar worker in all of Scandinavia. This amounts to a GDP of around 60 billion euro being lost in productivity gains every single year. Now, 60 billion, it's just such a large number that we can't really conceptualize how much money that is. So I've tried to break it down for you to make sure that you kind of get a sense of how much money that is. 60 billion euros would buy each and every person in Finland 2 saunas for each woman, man, and child. It would buy every person in Norway between the age of 25 to 45 their own Tesla Model 3. In Sweden, where I live, we have about 20 IKEA stores. We could open 600 more stores. I could finally get my own IKEA warehouse in my backyard. Dream coming true! And finally, in Denmark, of course, it would be able to buy each and every man, woman, and child in Denmark 3 years of prescription for Ozempic. Or we could just skip all of this and give every single person 3,500 euro each every single year. In this world where AI is our greatest efficiency increaser and our greatest competitor, the question isn't if we'll change. The question is, can we change fast enough? So going forward, how could Scandinavia actually turn this ship around? Well, governments and organizations need to start immediately with major overhauls in reskilling the labor market. On scale of going from farmers to industry workers, we need to do the same scale of reskilling people in Scandinavia. By doing this, it turns out that the amount of people using AI, when trained with using AI, goes from about 14% of people actually using it in organizations to 43% using AI to increase their efficiency. And the efficiency gains you can see in hours gained in productivity. By doing this, we could actually turn this 3,500 euro that we're losing right now every single year to a 10,000 euro gain per person every single year. Just to put into context how much 60 billion euros is that if we would actually do this reform, it would increase our GDP by 3.5% for every single country in Scandinavia. That is the difference of being in a recession and a booming economy. Now, you who are listening to this, the person in the other side of this camera, you need to start training. You need to use these tools every single day. And I'm not saying this because I think that it is something that will benefit society as a whole. I'm saying that it will benefit you in the long run. This will become a requirement for the next job that you are going to apply for. Just as you need to know how to use a computer, you will have to use these tools because the efficiency gains are just too great for companies to not have in-house. Now, the strategy that the Scandinavian countries needs to adopt right now is not to find the perfect plan, not to make more analysis, not to ask politicians to make an inquiry of how we got to where we are. We do not need another panel of AI experts to tell us what to do. We do not need more people talking. We need action right now. And I don't care what kind of political viewpoints you have, the strategy of thinking big, starting small, and scaling fast works. This is an extremely complex, unpredictable environment. And when we are in an unpredictable environment, the only functioning strategy is to make small-scale experimentations not asking what is the perfect plan. Now, to the positive side of this. In Scandinavia, we have a rich culture of innovation, technology, and great infrastructure. We have the IT know-how, and we have the power to actually back it up. This is one of the greatest reasons why Microsoft, for instance, are going to open large data centers in Scandinavia, because they know that we have a stable government, we have the educated personnel, and we have the electricity to actually power these huge data centers. So we need to embrace failure and see that failing forward is the correct strategy right now. Because standing still and trying to remove all of the risks is only going to create the greatest risk of them all. We are going to lose the greatest opportunity of prosperity that humanity has ever had. And I hope that 2025 will be the year when this ship gets turned around. Now, there are some great new tools available for us out there. One of them is called Deep Research, and I made a tutorial on how it works, trying to get you to actually figure out how you could possibly use it in your day-to-day work and become more efficient and create more value for your customers. Please check that video out, and I have a bunch of other videos on the topic of the European Union and what type of strategy actually works in this type of unpredictable environment. So please go check those videos out as well. And this is a new channel, and your support is greatly appreciated. So if you would consider please subscribing or at least liking the video, that would help me tons. Thank you so much, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.